Greetings everyone, Craig Hester here with R2A Watches.com, and thank you for joining us as we continue on our journey through all the watches and accessories that are available at R2A Watches.com. That's the letter R, the number 2, the letter A, and watches.com. If you're watching us for the first time on YouTube, be sure and hit like and subscribe. We really like those thumbs up and those subscriptions because they help our algorithm so more people can find out about the great watches that we have available at R2AWatches.com. If you're watching this on Facebook, you want to join the closed group Vostok-Europe Timepieces, or VET. It is the absolute best place to find out about what's going on with all the watches and accessories at R2AWatches.com. You definitely want to check that out on Facebook. What are we talking about today? Today we are talking about the Vostok-Europe Atomic Age Collection. This is one of the newest collections from Vostok-Europe of Vilnius, Lithuania. If you're not familiar with Vostok-Europe, they are a boutique watch brand based in Vilnius, Lithuania. Every watch is 100% custom. What does that mean? They have their own in-house designers. They design everything. This watch was completely designed from the ground up. I like to say that Vostok-Europe starts with a blank piece of paper, or more correctly, a blank computer screen, and they end with a completed watch. They don't go and buy anything off the shelf that you could see in other watches. I mean, I would challenge you to show me another watch on the market that looks like the Atomic Age. They do hand assemble every watch in their wonderful facility in Vilnius, Lithuania. Been there many times myself. They have a group of 7 full-time watchmakers that hand assembles every watch in Vilnius, Lithuania. Just fantastic job they do. And every watch goes through a 32-point inspection process before being delivered. What we're talking about today is the Atomic Age collection. The Atomic Age, as Vostok-Europe likes to say, we are all living in the Atomic Age. The Atomic Age collection celebrates 3 of the great scientists of the 20th century. The one you're looking at here is the Oppenheimer. Yep, you heard it right. I'm talking about Robert Oppenheimer, the guy who's in that, well, the guy he's not in it, but who Cillian Murphy plays in this great blockbuster film that's out right now. I will let you know that's just a coincidence. When the Atomic Age was being conceived, they had no idea that there was going to be a huge blockbuster movie about Robert Oppenheimer, but there is right now. And so it's not just a movie, it's also a watch. I'm not going to go into a lot about Oppenheimer and his life. Anybody can go Wikipedia that anytime you want to. I'll just mention that the 2 things that we all really know. He was the lead scientist on the Manhattan Project that first developed the atomic bomb and won World War II. And then on the flip side of that, he became one of the strongest proponents for non-proliferation of nuclear material and nuclear weapons after the war. He's known for both of those things. He was obviously one of the greatest scientists of the 20th century. That's why there's a 3-hour movie out there about him. If you haven't seen it, by the way, it's a great watch. I would tell you that what you want to do, pick up an Oppenheimer watch from R2AWatches.com and wear it to the movie, because this watch has tritium tubes. That gives you the constant illumination, and it's a really fantastic way to see what time it is in a movie theater, because it's not so bright that it's going to bother anybody next to you, but it's bright enough that you can tell the time. So this is the Atomic Age collection. Again, there's one for Fermi, one for Sakharov, and then this one for Oppenheimer. So there are 3 styles. Today, we are just focusing on the Oppenheimer. Now, the first thing I want to do is just show you real quick what are all the colorways that are available on the Oppenheimer. So I'll start with the one in my hand, which happens to be my favorite, if anybody cares. I really like this beige look. It has the seafoam green as your pop of additional color on this, along with the beige coloring. Now, every one of these watches is going to come with 2 straps, 2 fully integrated straps to the case. It's going to come with your silicone, which is a soft, supple silicone. I don't know how Vostok-Europe does it, but they have some of the softest, most comfortable silicone I've ever seen on the market. This watch is so comfortable on the wrist to wear when it's on the silicone. I like wearing them on the silicone, but it also comes with a heavy-duty, extra thick. Look at the connector where it connects to the watch, how thick that is. These are extremely well-made leather straps. In this case, with the beige, it's going to come with the light beige strap as well. The leather integrated strap, where that integration is so thick. Fantastic, fantastic leather strap that comes with this with the contrast stitching. The next colorway I'm going to grab here is the deep charcoal gray, with also the pop of the seafoam green. This makes for a really cool colorway. This is probably the easiest to read of the three, if that's something that's important to you. And they're all going to have this great etched case back of the atomic age. Again, as Vostok-Europe says, we are all living in the atomic age. And then the other one has a colorway that I really, really personally like as well. You don't see this very often. It's the red with the blue. Often you're going to see blue combined with green. In this particular case, Vostok-Europe went with the red because it's a little bit different, and they already had the green on the other two. So it made for a really great color combination to have the red and the blue. So that's the three. Now, the blue is actually going to come, it's going to give you kind of a Flieger look. It's going to come with the dark brown on the leather. On the green, the seafoam green with the black, with the charcoal gray, it's going to come with a black strap. So those are the additional straps that come along with it. Every single Oppenheimer watch or atomic age is going to come in this amazing packaging. This is a true drive box. It's actually made in the same facility that Pelican cases are made. I'm going to close it just so you can hear the quality. Listen to that. That just shows you, wow, the quality of this packaging. What's really cool as well, it comes set up for the watch, but you can take these pieces out and you can actually convert this to hold 4 watches. So it's actually a watch travel case as well as the packaging for the watch. It's going to come with your strap changing tool, multiple pieces of information that come along with the watch, the additional strap, and the watch itself. Now, one of the really cool things about this watch, this is a 200 meter or 20 ATM timepiece. That level of atmospheres puts it at professional grade dive quality. One of the little cool things that Vostok-Europe does with every one of their high-end dive watches is they're going to actually send you the water tightness test that they did before the watch shipped. In this particular case, you can see they put the actual limited edition number on there. You can see it's number 67 of 3000, and it shows you that it passed the test and the date that the test was passed. I've never seen another brand do that. That's just one of the really cool things about Vostok-Europe, these little touches that they do. Now I'm going to move back to, again, my favorite, the beige with the lime green, or the seafoam green is actually probably more accurate. And I'm going to talk to you about the specs and features of this watch. First of all, this is a 48 millimeter timepiece. Now, some of you are going to say, that's a pretty big watch. Yep, by today's standards, that's a pretty good size watch. But I'm going to tell you, with the drop down lugs and the way this watch is designed, I'm going to put it on my wrist. I don't have a really big wrist. Now, yes, it dominates the wrist, but it is not oversized. And it fits so comfortably. This watch, I have one in my collection. This watch is very, very easy to wear, very comfortable on the wrist because of the way they designed it. It's also important to note that this is a 2-piece case on the Oppenheimer watch. Now, what does that mean? For one thing, that does mean that this one, even though it is a dive watch, doesn't have the unidirectional rotating bezel. We weren't able to do that in the way this was designed because this is a 2-piece case. This top piece and this piece are 2 separate pieces. You can actually see on the side, these are the rivets that hold the second piece in place. So it can't be turned. But one of the cool things about having that as your alternative, as the way the watch is built, you get alternative polishings. So you have the matte or sandstone, and then you have the polished. That gives you a really nice scintillation when the watch is moving on your wrist. It's going to catch the light beautifully, and it's going to show the watch really well on your wrist, and that's going to get people's attention. Because here's the thing. We all know part of why you're buying a Vostok-Europe, which in my opinion, pound per pound, dollar for dollar, is one of the best watches on the market, if not the best watch on the market, and I don't say that about everything. We know when you're buying a Vostok-Europe, you want it to get noticed. And one of the great things about Vostok-Europe too is it doesn't just tell the time, it also tells a story. In this case, you've got the atomic age to tell the story. You've got the Oppenheimer. People are going to see that pop of the polished and the matte. That's going to catch their attention, and they're going to want to ask you about the watch you're wearing. Isn't that what you want to have happen? You want somebody to ask you about the watch you're wearing. With Vostok-Europe, you've got so much to talk about when that happens. Now, some of the other features of this watch. One of the important things I like to point out is they use the K1 mineral crystal system. Okay, what is a K1 mineral? The beautiful thing about the K1 mineral is it gives you the best of both worlds. Let's talk about the Mohs scale. Now, the Mohs scale is the hardness scale for determining how hard something is, and where things land on that hardness scale will tell you how hard it is. In this case, a K1 mineral crystal is a 7. Now, how does that compare to a sapphire or a regular mineral crystal? The sapphire is 9. The regular mineral crystal is 5. So you are literally right in the middle. You have nearly the scratch resistance of sapphire and nearly the shatter resistance of mineral. Keep in mind, mineral is more shatter resistant. Sapphire is more likely to shatter if it gets hit hard. Sapphire is more scratch resistant. Again, K1 puts you right in the middle. It's the best of both worlds. It's really an awesome option for a professional grade sport watch like you have here, so that you can use this watch in any conditions. This watch comes with a screw-in crown. Now, why do we do that? That's part of protecting the water resistance. To get to that 20 ATM, it helps to have a screw-in crown. It's important to note, you're going to have to unscrew that before you can pull the crown out to any position. That is quite critical. I'm going to tell you guys a little anecdote. The first watch I ever got with a screw-in crown, I didn't understand that the crown screwed in, and I literally almost destroyed the watch with a pair of pliers trying to open the crown. So it is important to note when you get a watch that it has a screw-in crown. Some of the other features of this watch. Again, it's going to come with the 2 straps. One of the things I really like about the way they did this one is the limited edition number is actually on the side of the case. In this case, we're looking at number 184 of 3000. Now, why is that important? Well, it costs a lot more to do that. It's a lot harder to engrave on the side of a case than it is flat on the case back. It also means that you don't have any risk of getting a Franken. What do I mean by a Franken? Where somebody might have taken, maybe they had 2 of the watches, they took them apart, whatever, for whatever reason, and they flipped the cases from one to the other, the case back, because this is a screw-on case back. You can't do that with this watch because the side of the watch is going to match the number that's on the back of the case back as well. So you know you've got the integrity of what the limited edition number is on the watch that you have. Now, let's talk about one of the most important features on this watch. I'm going to get to the movement in just a minute. I'm going to talk about all the functions on this watch and why this movement is so important and why it is a great watch movement. But I want to quickly talk about tritium tubes. So this watch has stand-up tritium tubes. If you're not familiar with tritium tubes, tritium is a substance that is put into laser-sealed glass tubes, okay? Those tubes are built by a company called MB Microtech of Switzerland. We actually carry the brand of watches that they make, which is Tracer Watches, is also available at R2A Watches.com. In this case, Vostok-Europe is buying just the tubes from MB Microtech. They give you constant illumination, or like I like to say, they're always lit, kind of like me on the weekends. So why is that important? On most watches, you're going to have painted on lume. Now with Vostok-Europe, they only use Superluminova. And what is Superluminova? Superluminova is also a Swiss company. It is the best painted lume that you can get. But we all know that you charge up the painted lume in the sun or under a UV light or just general lighting conditions, and that's going to fade within a couple of hours. The beautiful thing about tritium tubes is it stays lit all the time. It doesn't matter what lighting condition you're in, you're always going to be able to see your watch. So if you look on the chapter ring here, you see these circles. These tubes are standing up in the chapter ring in a candle-like reflector. As far as we know, Vostok-Europe is the only brand on the market that actually uses stand-up tritium tubes like this. Most of the time, you're going to see tritium tubes laying flat like they are on the hands here. That's going to block 30 to 40% of the light. So you get more light with the stand-up tritium tubes than you do with the lay-flat tritium tubes, and that is one great feature of Vostok-Europe. Now I'm going to take a second, turn off the lights, and I'm going to show you what this watch looks like in the dark so you can see how it is constantly illuminated. Takes a second for it to come on, and there you go. That is the beauty of tritium tubes. It's going to be lit like this all the time in any lighting condition. So that is what the tritium tubes look like, and you can see how it's reflecting in the candle holders as well. Turn the lights back on. Turn on my light back over here real quick. And that is the tritium tubes. Now, let's talk about the movement. I'm going to go back to my beige here so you've got some different looks as we go through. This is the YM86 movement from Seiko Epson. You have multiple functions here, guys. It is important to point out that this is not just your everyday quartz movement. Vostok-Europe does not use the cheap three-hand quartz movements that you see in a lot of watches. In fact, the movement on this watch is more expensive than most automatic movements on the market. That is part of what goes into the value of this watch, is that you actually have a movement. Literally, this movement costs more than the NH35, which is an automatic mechanical. Now, if this were an automatic movement, we would refer to all these other things as complications. When it's a quartz movement, we refer to them as functions. Now, first of all, let's start with the most important function on this. Well, not the most important, but a very important function, and that's the chronograph function. This watch has a crazy chronograph on it because you can literally measure something up to 24 hours. So you can see now, right now, how you know you're in the chronograph position is the long or sweep second hand is now locked at the 12 o'clock position with the bottom at the 6 o'clock position. Now, that is for your chronograph. To use the chronograph, you press the start button and you can see the sweep starts. Now, notice how this almost sweeps like an automatic. It doesn't tick like a quartz typically ticks. That's because this movement has actual mechanical parts in it as well. This is actually a jeweled quartz movement. It has, again, this is a off-the-hook movement, the YM86 by Seiko Epson. So you get nearly the look of a sweep like an automatic when you have the chronograph functioning. You press the top button to stop it, and then you reset. Now, if you want to see the other functions that this has, you're going to push the bottom button, and now you're going to move into the other features that are available. It has the day of the month. So that's the date. You can see that this goes 1 through 31 on this part of the outer chapter ring. It has the month. It has leap year. So you can, there you're going to move over. It's going to show you what month you're in. Then it's going to show you where you are right there. It's going to show you leap year +3. Then you also have the day of the week. This also has a sound alarm. If you ever want to just hear the sound alarm at any time while you're in this position, you just press the top button in for about 5 seconds, and the alarm is going to go off, and you can hear it, just to give you an idea of what the sound alarm sounds like. And again, we have this beautiful etched case back on this. Those are all of the functions. By the way, you can set the 24-hour hand independently, which can give you a secondary time zone. Also, this is important to note. All of these other functions that are available on the watch, the day of the month, the date, the month of the year, the leap year, the day of the week, they are all connected to the 24-hour subdial. They are not connected to the standard timekeeping. So it's very important to note that. The date is going to change when the 24-hour dial sweeps around all the way past the 24. It's not going to change when the 12-hour hand on the regular timekeeping, I'll get this out eventually, when the regular timekeeping goes around. I'm going to measure, let's see, I'm hoping this thing still works. The battery's not dead. No, the battery's dead. Can't do it. I was going to measure the thickness. I think this is about 18 millimeters thick. I don't remember exactly, but it is roughly 18 millimeters thick. Again, I want to point out how comfortable it is on the wrist. Sometimes people see this watch in the pictures and they think, wow, that's a big watch. Is that going to be comfortable? I can't stress enough. The way it's designed, and Abe would tell you, Abe Weiss here at R2AWatches.com, he would tell you he loves wearing his. It is extremely, extremely comfortable. So there you have it. That is the Atomic Age Oppenheimer watch by Vostok-Europe. Took a little extra time today to go through all of the features and benefits. Oh, also, you have this breathable silicone on here with the holes, which is really great for when you're out. You know how you get, you're wearing the watch, you get sweaty, it starts to slide around. This gives you that breathable ability with the silicone, which makes it even more comfortable when you're using it in extreme sporting conditions. So everybody, I'm Craig Hester with R2AWatches.com. This has been the Oppenheimer watch from the Atomic Age collection by Vostok-Europe. You know what I'm going to say? Keep watching.